What's happening, team? Hope you're having a great day. So I'm going to try and make this presentation under 10 minutes. Hopefully, it shouldn't be too long. And it is a webinar of sorts. I didn't think it was enough to make a live coaching webinar. There's probably no need for that. It's a bit more theory based, but I really think it's important that you guys watch it because I know a lot of you, when the, let's say, scale weight doesn't move or even when it goes up, when you feel like you've had a good week, you're not quite sure why. Okay, so that's what I'm going to cover in this presentation. So let's get right into it. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so let's move me out of the way here. Scale weight not moving, I've called it. All right, maybe not the best title, but here we are. Okay, so let's go through this. Hope you can learn a thing or two, and hopefully next time it happens to you, you'll realize that it's not your fault. Not, something's not necessarily wrong. It just happens. Okay. So it's important to realize that scale weight will always fluctuate every single day and throughout the day, okay? This is normal, okay? And this is why I always say when someone says to me, should I weigh myself every day? My answer is, if you can't accept this, do not weigh yourself every day because you'll just become too mentally stressed, okay? It will fluctuate, fluctuates for everyone. So please don't think there's something wrong with you, okay? Because it happens for everyone, all right? Now, of course, this should go without saying. If you guys are eating too much, not exercising, not doing everything properly that I told you many a time, you're going to put on weight regardless. Okay. This seminar, this webinar isn't covering that. This is covering what happens to your scale weight. Why does it fluctuate if you are doing all the things right? Okay. So let's crack on. Now, number one, stress. You know your stresses in life, work, family, relationships, it could be anything. Okay. Now, again, without getting too scientific, there's a hormone in your body called cortisol. It's not inherently bad. A lot of people think it is. But when it's chronically high and elevated, it can cause issues like water retention, especially around the stomach. Okay. It can also cause an increase in appetite, and which, as we all know, can lead to uncontrollable eating. So, because of these two things, thus your scale weight may increase. Stress doesn't cause weight gain, but it can be an indirect cause. Okay, like you don't just put on body fat from being stressed because stress isn't a physical thing. You're not eating stress, if that makes sense. All right. So stress is one thing. Make sure you read this PDF if you haven't already in the Facebook group. You want to know more about stress and how it affects weight loss. Okay. The next one, sodium and carbs. Now, sodium or salt, like the salt that you put in your food or that's already in food, they can retain more water, okay? Even if, let's say, you had a meal that was still, I don't know, 500 calories, which is your normal dinner, and you had more salt in it, you could retain a bit more water. And the same goes with carbs. For every 1 gram of carbs stored, there's approximately 2 to 3 grams of water retained. But that doesn't mean salt and carbs are bad for you, okay? We all need salt, we all need carbs, okay? You guys love carbs just like me. I never tell you to take them out, okay? We all need salt to live. So please don't take that out, okay? Especially for the sake of a bit of water loss, all right? I'm just making a point that if you have a meal higher in salt, higher in carbs, let's say the night before you weigh yourself, your scales may be higher, okay? Undigested food seems obvious, but let's just go through it anyway. Full digestion of food can take anywhere from 24 to 72 hours, okay? So again, you're weighing yourself, let's say on a Friday before you do your check-ins, and you've had a larger meal on a Thursday, or maybe even a really large meal on a Wednesday, that could still show up on the scales Friday morning, okay? Without being too graphic, you just may need the toilet, all right? That's why I always say step on the scales after you've been to the toilet, okay? Again, let's say you went out to a restaurant where, as I spoke about in previous seminar last month about eating out, most meals are higher in sodium. So let's say you went out to eat and you had a larger meal, maybe nothing excessive, but a normally larger meal. So you've got undigested food, they're probably high in sodium and it contains decent amount of carbs. Your weight's definitely going to be higher the next day. It might be, you haven't put on fat necessarily. It's just going to be higher because of water, all right, and undigested food. Again, in the Facebook group, there's a digestion cheat sheet. I'll say that properly. If you guys haven't read it, okay, so check that out for some more info on digestion. Training. Now, here's an interesting one. So after a weight training session, our muscles will hold water and glycogen, which is like from carbs, okay, to help them repair, recover, and grow. That's a good thing. This needs to happen. You can't control this. This just does happen, okay? It's temporary, but can still occur for 24 to 48 hours after a workout, especially a hard, heavy one. So think if you have a lower body day, that's normally quite hard. Full body session, you've worked really hard, you lifted a lot of weight, like you guys should, like I'm telling you to. Okay, most likely your weight will be more the next day because of this swelling in the muscles of water and glycogen. Again, it's a good thing. It doesn't mean, take the weights down and don't train very hard. Obviously, don't do that. Okay, I'm just saying once again, this could be a reason why the scale weight is higher. Ladies, I'm sure you know this around the time of the month. In case you actually didn't know why it happens, okay, the hormone progesterone increases, okay, which does activate another hormone, again, without getting too sciencey, aldosterone, which causes the kidneys to retain water and salt, okay? That's a basic overview. We don't need to get more complex, all right? But I said, you ladies obviously know this happens, okay? And so when you weigh yourself over the time of the month, that's why you often see the weight could be higher, but there's not any really different measurements. That's because you haven't built body fat. You're just holding a bit more water, okay? So an important thing to remember is that you're not necessarily doing anything wrong, okay, if your weight is up or hasn't moved over a week, okay? Of course, as I said at the beginning, if you're overeating, you haven't trained or moved all week, you could have put on body fat, okay? But most likely it's just down to water fluctuations, okay? Or undigested food. And that's why we have the other called physical progress markers of tape measurements, progress photos, how you fit in your clothes, how you look in the mirror, your strength, performance, energy, recovery. You've all at some point either in your journey before you started with me or in your journey with me had some weeks where the weight didn't move. But you said to me, Sam, I actually feel great. I look better in the mirror. I lost an inch off my waist. Photos are looking great. Okay. And that's why we had to have other markers. Okay. So to conclude, I know I tell you to take your weight twice a week, maybe once a week, okay? And that's absolutely fine. We'll just use it as a marker, but try not to get caught up with the fact that it will fluctuate. If you want to weigh yourself every day and take an average, I have no issue with that. But again, you have to accept it fluctuates. You can't be that person who says to me, oh, it went up by 0.2 today and it went down and I've been really good and it's gone up by 0.3 the next day. That's normal, okay? So if that's the way your mind is and you're not quite there yet, that you can't accept those fluctuations, then please don't weigh yourself every day, okay? So it's up to you. I hope that makes sense now whenever you're wondering why I've had such a good week and the scales haven't changed. These could be the reasons why, okay? Again, not an excuse for, you just didn't do much this week, you overate, you didn't train. Yes, that's obviously not a good thing. But these are some reasons why the scale might not budge, even though it seemed like you did everything right, okay? So I hope that makes sense. Hope I kept that short enough. Any questions, as always, drop them below and make sure you watch this, all right, once it's posted. Have a great day, guys.